I am live and everything's working. Thank God. I was actually having some Wi-Fi issues. I couldn't log on for a while, so thank God that I was able to go live. Apparently, guys, they don't want me to talk about who the gray hats are. This is a touchy subject that I noticed a lot of truthers out there don't really talk about, but I will. I was in a meditation and I got a download from the Galactics, and they want me to explain to you guys not only the operations and functions of the gray hats. Of course, we've heard about the white hats, we've heard about the dark hats, but nobody, and the red hats, of course, right? Extremist white hats. But nobody's ever really talked about the gray hats. So we're going to explore that today. We're also going to dive into the history of the gray hats and how they've always been like a middle point between the cabal and the forces of good. So for those that don't know me, my name is Ismael Perez. I am the author of Our Cosmic Origin, a book that reveals and restores galactic history back to the Earth. I am also the author of The Secret Government Invisible Architects, a book that explores the veiled truths and complex interconnections between our world's hidden rulers and, of course, the truth behind what's really going on. Now, I hope you guys are having a beautiful day today on the 10th of July, if I'm not mistaken. Today is the 10th of July, 2024. We are on the positive timeline, if you're on this podcast, on this very day in Testar 1, the first communications satellite to transmit television signals and telephone conversations across the Atlantic was launched in the year 1962. For some of you first wavers, you probably remember this event, inaugurating a new age in electronic communications. And furthermore, two more fun facts about myself, which serves as a, you could say, as a disclaimer, right? In order to kind of confuse the deep fakes out there that are going to be trying to, again, imitate us, according to Scott McKay. But two fun facts about myself that nobody really knows about is that I don't stand in the sidelines. Especially when ignorance is the cabal's number one weapon against the masses. Therefore, I am fully involved in the great awakening of humanity. To the best of my ability, I believe that the truth should come out, okay? I also love cheese. I know that came out of left field somewhere, but I do love cheese. I've been, a lover of cheese ever since I was a little boy. My favorite one is Parmesan cheese. And I also like pepper jack cheese because it's got, little spices. But Parmesan cheese, guys, if I could put Parmesan cheese on every meal, of course, if it's not vegan, like meats and stuff, then I do. And as a final reminder, I'm going to be starting a new class on the 15th of July. If you guys want to sign up to my July course, which starts on the 15th, it's on a Monday. Go to www.ourcosmicorigin.com. and make sure you get your spot. Now, I also want to welcome everyone to my channel. I don't care what you believe in, as long as you are for the light, and we have one thing in common, and that is freedom. You could be a flat earther, a round earther. You could, believe in Allah, Yahweh, Jesus. You could be an atheist, as far as I know, and you're still in this fight for against evil. Then you're accepted in my channel. And I also want to express deep gratitude to everyone that is watching. Thank you. And if you guys could also share my live stream, that'd be greatly appreciated so that my channel could grow. Now, before I dive into today's topics of the gray hats, right? This is a touchy subject that I noticed, again, that a lot of truthers failed to touch upon, but I will, because I believe that the truth should be out as to why we haven't had any disclosure, right? There is a reason why we don't have free energy technology like we should have by no later than 2024, as I stated before. There is a reason why we don't have the prosperity programs already implemented, right, to put an end to inequality, world hunger, and poverty. There is a reason, guys, all right? It is because of this third group that operates isolated from both the cabal and the white hats. So let's get into the subject, because again, this is very fascinating information. All right, we have to understand what we're dealing with here. But there's also good news, okay? So in the intricate and often secret world of global power structures, we all know that both groups operate through secret societies, right? That's been their, modus of operation for thousands of years. Both sides, both brotherhoods. These distinct factions emerge. Okay, so we have the white hats who represent good on the earth. We have the black hats who represent evil, right? That's the duality, the yin and the yang. But then there is another group that is known as the gray hats. Now, the white hats and the black hats represent clear-cut paradigms of good and evil, right? There is no in between, there is no middle ground. However, the gray hats operate in the ambiguous middle ground, making their motives and actions particularly secret, right, or more enigmatic. Let's shed light on the mysterious gray hats for the first time here on The Real Ismael Perez's podcast, exploring their origins, allegiances, and the impact that they have in this ongoing conflict between light and dark. Now, today, excuse me, we delve into this ongoing battle, obviously, between the forces of good and the forces of evil, which has been a struggle that has impacted humanity and all of us for thousands and thousands of years. Again, the root of this conflict began with the Luciferian rebellion in a higher reality, right? Everything is connected to the higher dimensions, guys. It's now coming to an end here in our realm. So today's focus is on how, the white hats who have been these brave heroes throughout history, right? At times even allow themselves to be sacrificed, like Jacques de Molay, the last of the Grand Master of the Knights Templars, who was the leader of the forces of light in medieval times. And they've worked tirelessly from behind the scenes to dismantle the corrupt and tyrannical structures that have plagued our world, okay? Their victories, the white hats that is, have been numerous and significant, all right? Otherwise, we would have all been under a fascist dictatorship by now. The Roman Empire, case in point, right? Hitler, I'm just saying, like, those are, moments that you could see that the white hats have counteracted, right, to the attempt to bring about world domination, for the longest time, right? Yet their journey to a better future has been fraught with challenges. And the primary reason, guys, and this is why it is important to understand why things have been delayed, okay? The primary reason for these obstacles, right, is a third group commonly known as the gray hats. Now, the gray hats operate obviously in a secret, unbeknownst to both the white hats and the dark hats, often shifting their allegiances, which complicates the efforts of both the white hats and the dark forces that they oppose. Unlike the white hats, who strive for transparency and justice, the gray hats, on the other hand, are in it for themselves, right? Many of them defected from the cabal, which explains it, right? A lot of these gray hats decided to cut their ties to the Rothschild Rockefeller dynasties, but yet not fully in alignment with the white hats, but decided to kind of like be their own, right? Forming a loose-knit organization that has been jeopardizing, again, both plans of the cabal and the white hats, because they answer to themselves. They could care less about, which side wins. They're in it for themselves. So their unpredictable nature and self-serving actions have caused delays and setbacks, making the fight for a positive future more arduous. Now, one significant way was that the gray hats have impacted the battle is by delaying the white hats' military takeover of the cabal and releasing the prosperity programs that would initiate a golden age here on Earth. Okay, so the gray hats, the gray, G-R-E-Y or A-Y, I'm sorry, have opposed the releasing of advanced technologies, advocating for a gradual disclosure that extends up to 50 years into the future. Heck no, that's not going to happen, okay? But that's what the gray hats want. The gray hats want a slow disclosure. They're for disclosure, but they just rather want a slower one. But we don't even have time. Our Earth's ecosystem is hanging by a thread, so something needs to happen now, right? So this slow drip of information, according to their plan, stands in stark contrast to the urgent need for change championed by the White Hats and our space allies. However, despite these challenges, there is hope. The Galactic Alliance and their broader galactic community are pushing for immediate disclosure and the ascension of planet Earth. With the many cycles ending at this time, there is a cosmic urgency to usher in a positive timeline here on this planet, because ultimately, from a higher perspective, and I've mentioned this before and I'll mention it again, what happens here on this realm, on this particular moment in time, on this beautiful planet called Earth, will affect everything in all of the dimensions, everything in the future and everything in the past. We are the nexus point, okay? So the Galactic Alliance, in partnership with the Earth Alliance / White Hats, is committed to arresting any gray hats, which is a good thing now, all right? At first, they were all about the arresting of the dark hats or the cabal, but now they are beginning the process of arresting the gray hats who do not support this positive shift as traitors to the plan, okay? Nothing's going to stop the plan, guys, all right? God wins, all right? And this is both a common denominator and seen throughout all religions. God always has the upper hand. Okay, so our space allies are instrumental in this effort, providing support and advanced strategies to ensure the victory of the light here on planet Earth. With their help, the White Hats are securing key victories, paving the way for a brighter and more transparent future. Now, the journey is far from over, okay? But with every step forward, we move closer to the world that we envision. Now, in this intricate and often clandestine world of global power struggle, three distinct factions, again, we have to consider that there has always been three groups, okay? And we see this throughout history, guys, all right? This is their way of influencing one another. There are defectors, there's infiltration. It's just, again, there's this overlapping ground known as the gray zone. We could say that it has always existed, all right? So the White Hats, obviously, and the Dark Hats have always been at war with one another, okay? And a lot of this ties in, believe it or not, a lot of this ties in to the ancient war between God and his angels and Lucifer and their angels, okay? But the gray hats, on the other hand, are a relatively modern phenomena. However, they've always existed. Again, born from the complexities and shifting allegiances that characterize the contemporary geopolitical landscape. Many gray hats are former members of either the White Hats, who have defected from the White Hats for whatever selfish purposes, and many of them are also defectors from the cabal, who have, again, left the ideological delusionment or their agenda for personal gain. Now, their transition to this middle ground is often driven by a desire for self-preservation, power, or profit, rather than a commitment to a particular cause. Historically, the concept of the gray hats can be traced back to various secret societies and intelligent agencies where double agents and moles played pivotal roles. These individuals, skilled in espionage and manipulation, frequently shifted loyalties based on changing circumstances, personal agendas, or financial incentives. Unlike the White Hats, who are dedicated to justice, freedom, and prosperity for all of humanity, or like the Black Hats, who seek to control, oppress, and subjugate the masses, the gray hats operate with fluid and often self-serving motives. They're neither for one or the other side. They are completely operating for their own selfish motives, okay? So in a way, they are dark hats, in a way, okay? But again, they're like in the middle, okay? Their primary allegiance is to themselves, and they are adept at navigating the treacherous waters of political and social power dynamics to maximize their own benefit. Now, the gray hats' actions are driven by a pragmatic approach to power, right? So in a way, they do resemble the dark hats or the cabal. They are not bound by the rigid moral frameworks of the White Hats or the ruthless ambitions of the Black Hats. Instead, they exploit opportunities as they arise. sometimes aiding the forces of light, and other times collaborating with the forces of darkness, depending on what serves their interest at the time. I guess from a higher perspective, we could say that the gray hats are the middle point, right? In terms of the yin and the yang, they are the middle point, keeping everything in balance in a way. But again, due to the fact that we're ending so many cycles, even they are going to be eliminated because we are scheduled for a golden age of light. All right. So the influence of the gray hats extends obviously beyond Earth. Okay. For those who read Our Cosmic Origin, you know, it's revealed in that book, right? Playing a significant role in galactic events as well. One notable example is the failure of the Mars colony 4 million years ago. And for those that are still scratching their heads, trying to figure out if there was life on Mars or Venus, my friends, there is so much evidence that NASA and their lies and the elites have been covering from us regarding a face monument on Mars, pyramids of Mars, dried up riverbeds, evidence of oceans and rivers, mountain ridges. I mean, Mars was once just like the Earth. It had an atmosphere, okay? And that's the truth of the matter. So apparently, there was an infiltration that took place in the Federation by the Draconian Empire, which was sabotaged by double agents that were in favor of the Draconian Empire that infiltrated the Galactic Federation of Worlds 4 million years ago during the first seeding, all right? These agents functioning as, again, galactic gray hats, we see this reflected on every dimension, disrupted the colony's development on Mars, leading to its eventual destruction and highlighting the far-reaching consequences of their actions, okay? And not only was this devastating for Mars, but for those that understand galactic history, it also led to the destruction of the surface world on Venus, right? And of course, the destruction of planet Maldek. Now, on Earth, the gray hats have consistently complicated efforts to establish a transparent and just global order. Their shifting allegiances and unpredictable actions have caused delays and setbacks in various initiatives, including the White Hats' military takeover of the Cabal by initiating the EBS. Okay, so the gray hats' resistance to the release of advanced technologies, I've already mentioned it. They want to extend that for another 50 to 100 years, which is something that we are not going to be down for. And the White Knights know that, right? That's why they're going to get arrested as well, because they're standing in the way of, the plan of the White Knights. Now, currently, the gray hats continue to pose significant challenges to both the White Hats and the Black Hats. Their loose-knit organization and opportunistic behavior make them difficult to predict and counter. However, my friends, the Galactic Alliance, in partnership with the White Hat Earth Alliance, is taking steps to address this issue now. They are committed to identifying and neutralizing any gray hat who opposes the positive timeline and the immediate disclosure of advanced technologies. As the cycles of cosmic evolution reach a critical juncture, the push for planetary ascension and the establishment of a positive timeline is intensifying. The Galactic Alliance support is crucial in this endeavor, providing the necessary resources and strategic insights to overcome the gray hats' obstructionist tactics. The gray hats represent a complex and elusive element within the broader struggle, apparently between light and dark. And throughout all of history, they've been self-serving motives. They adhere to self-serving motives. They shift constantly. They're shifting their allegiances to both sides. Sometimes, again, becoming, you could say, stumbling blocks to the Cabal as well as stumbling blocks to the White Hats. But again, their time is up as well. Okay, so as we move forward, we are seeing that there is a collaborated effort between the Galactics and the Earth Alliance to arrest any remaining gray hats, because that is the reason why we haven't, released the funds, or EBS hasn't happened, because of this third group. And it took me a while to figure it out, guys. I was trying to really understand why this delay, through vigilance, strategic action, and a commitment to transparency and justice, we can aspire to a future where the enigmatic influence of the gray hats is neutralized, paving the way for a new era of peace and prosperity. Now, I do want to share the different ideologies that have been at the root cause of this war between good and evil. Okay, I do want to share that with you guys because of the fact that a lot of people don't understand that both sides are taking oaths. Okay, so the white hats they're operating under their own oath as well as the dark hats. All right, and these oaths are actually ancient. I want you guys to understand that they live and abide by certain oaths. Okay, so I want you guys to know this truth as well. Now, this is going to be something that will help you guys understand why the white hats are real. Okay, so throughout history, to uncover the tale of infiltration and conflict between the ancient secret societies, right? We have on one side the Brotherhood of Light, right? And on the other side, the Brotherhood of Darkness. But now we understand that there was a third faction, which was those that are in the gray zone, okay? So these two factions, all right, let's just focus on the light and the dark right now, that are bounded by oaths in exact opposition to one another, have been locked in a struggle that spans both earthly and galactic history. Now, to give you guys an example, all right, so their opposing ideologies are based on the foundation that we're either descending spiritual beings of light into human avatars and we just need to restore ourselves back to who we are as multidimensional eternals, which is something that the white hats and the Brotherhood of Light has always believed in, or that we are descendants of the animal kingdom and therefore we need to be controlled like a herd, right? That's been at the core of the Luciferian Brotherhood as well. So those are the two opposing ideologies that is causing this war between good and evil. One of them stands to the idea that we are spiritual beings, in human form, that we are children of light, and that we are eternal, right? Which is what the core base ideology that the Brotherhood of Light has always believed in. And then the other idea is the idea that we are rational animals that need to be controlled by people, okay? That we are no different than the cattle. And that's an ideology that has been at the core of the dark Luciferian Cabal Brotherhood. So the Brotherhood of Light operates under the oath that is dedicated to justice, freedom, and the ushering in of golden ages and prosperity for all, okay? Their members are committed to enlightening humanity, spreading truth, and fostering an environment where every individual can thrive. Their ultimate goal is to see a world where peace, love, and prosperity reign supreme, lifting humanity to its highest potential. Now, on the other hand, the Brotherhood of Darkness, the Babylonian branch, swore an oath to perpetuate the Dark Ages, favoring absolute control and power by a select few. Their mission, the Dark Brotherhood that is to keep humanity in a state of ignorance and subjugation, manipulating and oppressing the masses to maintain their dominion. They thrive on fear, deception, and the suppression of knowledge, aiming to create a world where their authority is unchallenged and their power is absolute. And of course, for those that are familiar with the saying, absolute power corrupts all power. So that is a saying that, or a metaphor describing the ultimate agenda of the Dark Brotherhood. And throughout history, this conflict, obviously led by two different ideologies and two different belief systems between these two brotherhoods, was marked by infiltration and subterfuge on both ends, okay? So the Brotherhood of Darkness has often sought to undermine and corrupt the efforts of the Brotherhood of Light, infiltrating their ranks and sabotaging their initiatives. And this explains the Bavarian Illuminati infiltration, right? This organization that was created in Germany by Adam Weishaupt, their infiltration on the Masonic lodges, right? Well, that's a perfect example of the Jesuits and the Vatican infiltrating an organization that was once opposed to the oligarchs of Europe, which was the original Masons, of those of the Blue Lodge, before they became the High Shriner Scottish, whatever they are now. but it was all an infiltration, right? The Illuminati, Bavarian Illuminati, infiltrated the Masonic lodges. This is just to give you guys an example of how they infiltrate each other. But this struggle is not just limited to Earth, guys. Again, it extends to the stars and to history that we actually don't even have access to unless you read my book or Cosmic Origin, right? As evidenced by the galactic history, even of our solar system, okay? One of the most poignant examples, for instance, of this cosmic conflict is the story, again, of the Mars colony. And the reason I keep bringing up the fall of Mars is because that was another example of the infiltration that took place by these two extraterrestrial opposing factions, right? So long ago, during the first seeding of our solar system, believe it or not, 4 million years ago, the Federation of Worlds sought to establish a thriving colony on Mars, Venus, Tiamat Earth, as our planet was then called, and planet Meldic, which is now the Kuiper Belt. However, these noble endeavors were thwarted when double agents from the Draconian Empire infiltrated the Federation. Right? These agents loyal to the Luciferian agenda sabotage the Martian colony, leading to its ultimate destruction and the failure of this early attempt to expand human civilization beyond the Milky Way. Now, or beyond our Earth, I mean. Now, the infiltration of these dark forces resulted in catastrophic setbacks, not only for the Mars colony, but also for the entire solar system, right? At one point, believe it or not, for those that have taken my course, when I explain the galactic and cosmic history, I talk about how at one point our entire solar system was inhabited, all 12 planets. And yes, we were originally a solar system of 12 planets, with Nibiru being the 12th planet. So, despite these challenges, the Brotherhood of Light remains steadfast in their mission, right? And this includes the Space Command, or our space allies, and the Earth Alliance. They continue to work from behind the scenes, counteracting the efforts of the Brotherhood of Darkness and striving to guide humanity towards a brighter future. The cosmic struggle between these forces highlights the importance of vigilance, unity, and the unyielding pursuit of truth and justice. As we reflect on these historical and galactic events, let us remain aware of the ongoing battle between light and dark. Now, by understanding the nature of these opposing forces, we can better navigate our path forward, supporting the efforts of the Brotherhood of Light and working together to achieve a world of justice, freedom, and prosperity for all. Now, it's also important to understand that the surface forces of good in the 3D, we call them the Earth Alliance or the Y-Hats, as well as the Chinese elders who are behind the new currency, right, backed by precious metals, are not working alone, guys. They're apparently also working with the Inner Earth Council. So not only are they collaborating with galactics like Valiant Thor, Commander Corindor, as well as Commander Cortic and Soltic, but they're also working with the Inner Earth civilizations. So by now you should all know, right, that the Earth is hollowed, and that there has been advanced civilizations that have existed in prosperity and still exist to this day within the Earth. Okay, these are the realms that are often depicted as sanctuaries of ancient wisdom, preserved by remnants of Atlantean survivors and Lemurian survivors. The connection between the surface world of the light and the Inner Earth councils forms a complex and profound narrative that spans myth, spirituality, and the esoteric tradition. Let's explore the connection really brief, okay? So I want you guys to understand that the White Hats, Earth Alliance, whatever you want to call them, are also, well, at the highest level or the highest escalons of the White Hats, which is a community of white wizards. I've mentioned this before. Where do you think they're getting most of their information from? The white wizards. From the Inner Earth Councils, okay? So some people might find this a little far-fetched, but hey, my friends, the Inner Earth Councils have, in a way, collaborated with the forces of light, including the Knights Templars and, the Essenes and the Druids and the Celts of old. They've always worked with these Inner Earth dwellers, all right? It's just history doesn't record that. So the connection between the surface world and the Inner Earth Council forms a complex and profound narrative. Again, so focusing on the role of the white wizards, which is again, a group of white magicians, healers, alchemists, in a way, immortals. Some of them live for 600 years, 500 years, 900 years, who operate at the highest levels of the Brotherhood of Light and their intimate ties with the high councils of the inner earth kingdoms. So Shambhala, right, is often described in Eastern traditions, particularly Tibetan Buddhism, as a mystical kingdom hidden in the Himalayas. Well, it's not that it's hidden, it's just that it is a civilization that is operating from the fifth dimension and above. So, of course, we wouldn't be able to see it if we go to the Himalayas, right? Well, there's also doorways that lead to that. But even if we go into these inner earth doorways, we're not going to see anything unless we raise our frequency to theirs. So, as a mystical kingdom hidden in the Himalayas, okay, according to the legend, it is said to be a place of peace and enlightenment, governed by enlightened beings who hold ancient wisdom and advanced spiritual knowledge. According to the Kala Chakra Tantra, which is an old text, Shambhala is ruled by a line of enlightened kings called the Kalki kings, Kalki. And this is where we get the concept of the Kalki avatar, okay? So, who guide humanity towards spiritual awakening. Agartha, on the other hand, is a concept from Western esoteric traditions. It is believed to be a vast subterranean network of cities beneath the Earth's surface, inhabited by advanced beings. And these beings are thought to be the descendants of the survivors of the lost ancient civilizations. Okay, Agartha is a utopian society with highly advanced technology and profound spiritual understanding. And it is believed that to some extent Hitler was sending his troops and explorers to these realms because Hitler was after one thing only: technology, space-age technology, and weapons. So anyway, the civilizations of Atlantis and Lemuria are central, obviously, to the mythology of the inner earth realms. So Atlantis, as described by Plato, was a highly advanced civilization. You guys already probably know this, that eventually fell due to the moral and spiritual decay. And then, of course, we know that Lemuria, according to various esoteric traditions, was an ancient civilization that existed before Atlantis, known for its spiritual prowess and harmonious way of life. Now, the remnants of these civilizations are believed to have retreated to the inner earth and have been guiding, believe it or not, the forces of good, right? The Brotherhood of Light, who operates on the surface since times immemorial, guys. Okay, so we're not, see, the Brotherhood of Light is multifaceted and multidimensional. See, whereas the Cabal only operate from the 3D now, all right? They're alien overlords that were operating from the lower fourth dimension, right? The reptilians have been dealt with. So the Cabal is only 3D. The forces of light, the Earth Alliance, consist of members of the Earth Alliance team and members of the Inner Earth Council, not to mention the Galactics. So it is a multi-dimensional collaboration. And that is the reason why light is always on the winning side. So the connections between the forces of light and the surface and the Inner Earth Council is believed to be deeply spiritual and cooperative. It is believed that certain members of the Holy Order of the Grail, which was really the inner core that the Knights Templars were protecting, right? People that were descendants of the Magi Grail lineage of King David and Jeshua, Mary Magdalene, right? They called the Druze, not the Jews, the Druze. It is believed that some of these people were actually in contact with Agapa, as well as some of the Kalkis that have been pretty much at the head of the Inner Earth Councils. Okay, so again, this is information that was left off the history books, and the connection manifests through various means, including telepathic communication. In some cases, the Council of the White Wizards, including Jeshua, the great Jesus himself, was in constant communication with the High Council of Telos and Agartha and Shambhala. So sometimes they do it through astral travel. They meet in the astral realm, right? And direct physical encounters have also occurred. So many spiritual traditions argue or suggest that the inner earth beings, particularly those from Shambhala and Agartha, communicate with members of the Earth Alliance community through telepathy and channeling. Right? They wanted me to share that with you guys, to let you guys know that the great plan of the divine, God source is inevitable. These communications often provide guidance, wisdom, and knowledge to assist humanity in their spiritual evolution. Some surface dwellers report experiencing astral travel or visionary journeys to the realms of Shambhala and Agartha. These experiments are said to offer profound insights and direct contact with the enlightened beings of the inner earth, further strengthening the connections between the two realms. Now, there are some accounts of physical encounters, by the way, with inner earth beings and surface dwellers. These encounters are often described as meetings with beings of extraordinary wisdom and light who share knowledge and guidance with the surface world forces of light. For instance, the mysterious encounter that Admiral General Byrd had when he entered the realms of the inner earth through the Antarctic portal was with members of these inner earth councils. The White Wizards are considered, again, the White Wizards are the highest escalons of the Earth Alliance, and they've always existed, right? And the reason they're called White Wizards, it's because they live for they're just, how can I say it? They're not your typical humans, guys. You know, these guys they're telepathic. Some of them are capable of bilocating and being in multiple places at once. They exert abilities similar to ascended masters and yogis, okay? So they do exert supernatural abilities. So that's why they're called the Council of the White Wizards. So the White Wizards, it has been believed, according to the esoteric knowledge, that they have always had this intimate connection with the high councils of Shambhala and Agartha. Now, the connection is rooted in shared goals and mutual respect because they have one thing in common: the restoration of the surface dwellers, us, right? Well, not us, but the surface world. I guess we are included in that since we are part of the surface world. The White Wizards often act as intermediaries between the surface world and the inner earth council, relaying messages, wisdom, and guidance from the high councils to the forces of light on the surface. The collaboration between the White Wizards and the Inner Earth Council is multifaceted. It includes joint efforts in spiritual healing, planetary protection, and the dissemination of ancient wisdom. I think it was in 1987 where there was a huge, again, meeting that took place between the White Wizards and the Inner Earth High Priest and High Priestess of Shambhala, and as well as Agartha. And what that meeting was about was they wanted the age of information to kick in. They wanted to share all the metaphysical, all the esoteric, all the hidden knowledge that was hidden for thousands of years by these secret societies. They wanted to share that with the general public. And there was a reason for that, guys, because they knew that the age of Aquarius was upon us. And this event happened in 1987. There was a huge meeting that marked what many call the harmonic convergence, right? And all of a sudden, in the 90s, we have the internet and an explosion of knowledge back to the earth, right? Around 1990, 1995, explosion of knowledge, which led to the Great Awakening of today. So the relationship that the forces of light on the surface world and the inner earth councils of Shambhala and Agartha has always been a profound and intricate narrative. Okay, so it's been rooted in ancient traditions and esoteric teachings. This connection highlights a collaborative effort to guide humanity towards spiritual enlightenment and harmony, ushering in what they call the seventh golden age of enlightenment, which is the age of Aquarius. It's here. White Wizards play a crucial role in this alliance, serving as intermediaries and custodians of the wisdom shared by the inner earth beings. Together they worked towards a common goal, and that is what? To uplift humanity and to protect the planet from those that want to exploit it or from those that want to dominate it. So how's everyone doing? I want to welcome everyone. I want to give a shout out to Justin Mercado, Cosmo Grow, Sun Moon, Veronica Domingo. Who else is here? Melissa by Design, Joanna, New York, Lee Star, Sylvia Vidal is in the house. Who else is in the house? Gabriela Howie, Ricky Lee 1111, Digital Revolution. Let's see, Love Source is in the house. Who else is in the house? What about Mathis Chronicles? Is Mathis Chronicles in the house? I hope he's in the house. Let me take some questions. I'm going to open up for Q&A now, guys. I've been talking for quite some time now. And let's see. Let me use my phone. Maybe I could answer questions through my phone. See if I can find you guys on my phone. Alrighty, let's see. How's everyone doing? If you guys give me a minute, I'm actually going to get some water. Alrighty, so I am back. So if you guys have any questions regarding today's subject about the gray hats, but the good news, as stated earlier, is that the gray hats are also going to be arrested if they don't make a decision. There is no gray point anymore, okay? They either have to align with the light and the divine plan, which is the positive timeline, disclosure now, or they get taken out to the Gitmo, just like the dark hats. Let me see. Questions, put them in capital letters, please. Melissa by Design says, I am so happy to be here with people tonight, fine people tonight. Thanks, Ishmael, for our continued dedication to the Galactic Jedi Nation. Oh, very well said, sister. We are the Galactic Jedi Nation. Thank you for pointing that out. Are you familiar with Course in Miracles? Yes, I am familiar with Course in Miracles. I love that book. Very good book. Yeah, we've heard of the white hats, the cabal. We've heard of the red hats. And the red hats aren't bad. They're just extremist white hats. But now, for the first time, you guys know who the gray hats were and why things have been taking forever. But now they're going to be dealt with because they're not going to intervene with what's going to be happening by fall. And yes, 45, soon to be 47, will be taking office. Like he ever left office when you really think about it. Perhaps he's getting a third term, right? Yeah, I heard that the Q clock was going to be ending. I think tomorrow, or is it tomorrow or Friday? But I'm going to be honest with you guys. The Q clock has been ending for over a year and a half now, right? It seems like they're always pushing this date, but we'll see what happens. It is officially hot here in California. Let me turn on my air. Full blast. There we go. All right. Cosmo Girl, thank you so much, sister. I appreciate that little cartoon character and the super chat. Thank you, thank you. Carrie was saying we're going to see insect people. Well, according to the Hopi prophecy, there is a group of insects that are actually good. Not all the ant-men that exist in the inner earth, right? Not all the ant-men are evil guys. Some of them are good, all right? But yeah, the majority of the insectoids are evil, but there's also a small portion of them that are good. But yeah, as we become part of a galactic community, why wouldn't we interact with all kinds of specimens, not just humanoid, but different types? Think about it. Aaron says, do you know when the 10 days of darkness is scheduled? No, I don't. And nobody knows this too, by the way. I wouldn't believe any of the negative soothsayers out there talking about negative events happening on the 15th of this month. There's nothing going to be happening. Not under God's watch, guys. Again, the forces of light are multifaceted, operating from multi-dimensional realities, including members of advanced civilizations. So nothing's going to happen. Stop feeding into the fear porn. For those doomsdayers out there, why are you still watching them? All right? Why are you still watching these doomsdayers? Stay away from that. All they're going to do is put fear in your body, in your mind, I mean. It is so hot that I am beginning to sweat. Yes, Vibe High Tarot. The people that attended the island, that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to say the name. But yes, all those people are finally getting, a lot of them have been taking the Gitmo. But yes, all the celebrities and all of those, lower level people that attended that island are going to get theirs. Exactly. No, no. I talk about the white wizards in the secret government invisible architects. I don't think I mentioned the white wizards in our cosmic origin. Maybe I do. I don't recall. But I do mention them in the secret government invisible architects. Yes, Chastine Rose is asking me if I'm safe from all the California fires, and the answer to that is yes, I am. They're not taking place near me. I actually live by the ocean. Are the Anunnaki a reptilian species? Says Deuce B. And is there a link between them and the Draco reptilians? A faction of the Anunnaki were invaded by the reptilians and their DNA. Yes, there's two factions. You have the reptilian draconian Anunnaki, which is the Luciferian rebellion, extraterrestrials that joined the Luciferian rebellion, and then you have the Lyrian Syrian Anunnaki, and those are the guardians. Those are the descendants of Elohim, of the original Lyrian Council of Elohim. So there's two factions within the Anunnaki groups. Two Anunnaki groups, in other words. Just like everything else, guys. We have good guys, right? You have positive ETs and you have negative ETs. Yeah, 120 is pretty hot. That's why I don't live in Nevada or in Arizona. But here in California, it's about 100 and it's about 99 degrees or 98. It's almost 100 degrees, which is pretty. pretty relatively hot considering that I don't have an air conditioner. What's up, Mathis Chronicles? How you doing, man? I'm giving you a shout out again. Let's see. Who else is here? Oh boy. How am I doing? I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right, guys. I can't complain. Let's see. Just looking for questions at this time. Um, the chat is going so fast. Yeah. Again, it's pretty hot here in California. Summer is officially here, I guess. I'm like trying to face my fan towards me. What do you think about the interview with Carrie this time? I think it went much better because remember, this time I was interviewing her and I was asking her questions. So I think I got a lot out of her. Would you guys agree? I got a lot of information out of her regarding what her whistleblowers and defectors told her during her many years of interviews. Yeah, she even posted it on her channel. If you guys go to Carrie Cassidy official channel, she actually posted our live on her channel as well. No, the Cabal is not using HARP anymore. As of April, I think, yeah, as of April, they've been stripped from their advanced technologies. No, where I live by the ocean, I don't know if you could even put an air conditioner in these small little apartments, but it's okay, guys. I dealt with the heat for many years. It's not going to kill me. I'm not going to melt. I'm not made out of ice cream. Yes, I'm excited about the new Earth that is coming. Absolutely. Who's chemtrailing? Those are bots. Those are actually androids. Those chemtrails are coming from automatons that are self-driving airplanes. By the way, they're not people piloting those anymore. Those are bots. Yes, the Knights Templars were the original seafarers hundreds of years before Christopher Columbus. Let me explain. Okay, so the art of seafaring could be traceable back to ancient times when you consider that the Vikings were also part of the White Brotherhood, believe it or not. Solomon, right? King Solomon, son of David, who was the most knowledgeable man on earth during those days. He was a white wizard, but I think he was at the head of the Council of Wizards at one point. It was him and a few others. Another one was known as the King of Tira, and he went by the name of Abif. What was his name? Hiram Abif. Hiram Abif. And then together with another king, they were like the pretty much like at the core of the White Wizard. So Solomon knew about the Earth being a sphere, about the other continents. He had access to the building of ships, and so they did. The under his orders, you could say, some of the early Hebrews were already sailing the seven seas. And this goes back to the idea that some Hebrews, particularly some of the lost 10 tribes of Israel, made it over to the Americas, or 2,500 years ago, believe it or not, because of the knowledge that Solomon knew, that he had, right? Solomon knew about the sphere. Solomon knew about our solar system. Solomon knew about the positive ETs. Solomon was actually interacting with Galactic Federation, back then Galactic Federation, right before Galactic Alliance, Galactic Federation members. Okay, some people call them angels, but Solomon had a rod and a staff that allowed him to communicate telepathically with extraterrestrials. So the Knights Templars, when they excavated his ruins, they discovered a lot of these records that pertain to how the Earth is a sphere with oceans and continents, and also the art of sea navigation, which is the building of ships, the building of boats. So, in fact, the pirates, the original pirates, if you guys remember the original pirates, again predating Columbus, the reason that they were already sailing the seven seas and hiding their treasure, right? The treasures that they excavated from Solomon. Again, everything goes back to Solomon's ruins. They were already traveling. They were already, navigating to the different continents and hiding their treasures and on these different islands. They came to the Americas in the year 1300, 12 or 1300, way before Columbus supposedly discovered America. So the Knights Templars were actually the pirates, the original pirates. And get this, guys, the reason that they became pirates was to camouflage themselves from the India East British Company, which was a cabal establishment between the Vatican and the oligarchs, or the British of Europe. The British East India Company was always at odds with the pirates, right? So when you watch movies like Pirates of the Caribbean with what's his name? God, I forget his name. What's his name? The funny guy. I just drew a blank when it came to this huge Hollywood actor. Come on, Johnny Depp, okay? Pirates of the Caribbean. That whole thing of having these pirates back in those days was about rebelling against the British East India Company, which was, which was cabal run, and Johnny Depp, thank you, Sylvia, and of course, Vatican. So why did the Knights Templars, or the pirates, which were the Knights Templars disguised, why did you think that they only attacked the Vatican vessel ships when the Vatican was trying to sail the seven seas, right? Because they were enemies, all right? In fact, the pirates, despite of what history says about them, were the original Masons. Yeah, they were the originals. They were known as the Brotherhood of the Coast, right? And they were in cahoots with the remaining remnants, Knights Templars, who later reorganized as the Scottish Masons in different groups, Knights of Santiago, Knights of Christ, whatever. They reorganized to continue the agenda of trying to reestablish the Republic. The Republic could be traceable back to the concept, to the foundations that was laid down by Solomon and his descendants, by the way. So yeah, I have time for maybe two more questions if you guys want to ask me any more questions. So yeah, the original pirates were Knights Templars in disguise. They were fleeing the Inquisition and the persecution back in the year 1307. No, I don't know who Ann Tucker is. I'm not familiar with her. The Statue of Liberty was given to us by the French because, again, the Brotherhood of Light, right, the remnants of the Knights Templars, who were trying to fight the Jesuits and the establishment of the French Republic, decided to give us a gift because they couldn't, fulfill, you could say, in bringing freedom to France. So what they did is they gave us the gift known as the Statue of Liberty, which has nothing to do with the Illuminati, by the way. Lady Liberty is the female counterpart of Saint Germain. Okay, so that was a gift from the French, because the French were obviously always victims to the Vatican, the Jesuits, and the oligarchs. That's why they groomed and financed Napoleon, right? Napoleon, who was the first Hitler. Napoleon was working for the Jesuits. It's all in my book, The Secret Government, right? His mentors were Jesuits. And they groomed him on an island in order to counteract the French Revolution, which was supposed to bring in the Republic in France back in the years, what was it, 16 something, I believe. 17 something, maybe. Justin J, QHHT, thank you so much for your super chat. She says, are you aware of any benevolent dragons in the cosmos? Absolutely. Yes. They're also known as cosmic ratios. They're guardians of the eternal realms. We have dragons we have a community of advanced spiritual dragons that are the gatekeepers of the inner realms that live in the inner earth as well. We have cosmic dragons. We have, dragons that operate on different realities, not just in the physical. But yeah, for the most part, the only evil dragon was Lucifer. When he rebelled against God, he transformed himself from a beautiful celestial into a gross, ugly-looking reptilian draconian. Okay, but other than that, the dragons, the original dragons, were benevolent and continue to be benevolent. And yes, they are guardians of treasures, of ancient realms, of magical realms. And then the cosmic ratios, which are eternal dragons, are guardians of the eternal, or the gates of eternity, you could say. So yeah, there are benevolent dragons, absolutely. Thank you for asking that, Justine. And sometimes people work with dragons. People that are into esoteric and mysticism do work with several dragons. All right. I think I'm going to end the live because I have to prepare. I have to pack. I'm going to be going to Colorado for a couple of days, and then I'll be back Saturday. I don't know if I'll be back in enough time to go live Saturday, so I'll probably be going live Monday of next week. Now, if I don't go live Saturday, guys, I might just put up or upload an old interview where I share a lot of information that I think you guys are going to appreciate, right? This is a lost interview that was never shared on YouTube that I actually discovered. So I'm going to go ahead and upload that for Saturday for you guys. And with that in mind, I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend. May the God force be with each and every single one of you. And we will see you guys soon. Now, where do I end my live? Oh, there it is.